Good morning, everyone. I'm all alone this morning because, of course, Tim's gone off to work. So I am now ready to make the homemade brownies portion of all of our different desserts we're making. I know you guys have said you wanted cakes and brownies were two of the specific things you asked for because you said that you couldn't find boxed ones anymore. So today is the brownie version. And by the way, I haven't heard anybody asking for any other flavored cakes. We did the chocolate one a little while ago. So if you have other flavored cakes you'd like, let me know. We'll also add that to our repertoire. So this morning is going to be brownies. Now I have some amazing brownie recipes that have come from different friends. One of them came from Natalie Brannon. Her mother was a nurse for years, and Dr. Rath, if anybody's old enough to remember Dr. Rath, his wife had a brownie recipe that was fabulous. It's a lot like the one I'm going to make today. I also have Katharine Hepburn. If you're old enough to know who Katharine Hepburn is, she's an actress from years ago. I have her brownie recipe too. They all start with the same ingredient, and that is butter. But the one I'm going to use today comes from my Taste of Home cookbook. This is a magazine I had for many years, and I've got their cookbooks, and oh my god, they are so fantastic. So, and everything in here, everything in the Taste of Home cookbooks are recipes like I cook, with things that you will find on your shelf. You don't have to look at a recipe and go, oh gosh, I'll have to go cooking, I'll have to go shopping to buy the ingredients for the recipe. Everything, you open up these cookbooks and they're like, oh, I have that and I have that. So that's what I love most about this Taste of Home cookbook, because it really is everything that we normally have around the house. So I'm going to start out this morning. I'm going to move you here because you're on the tripod. I'm going to place you over by my mixing bowl, and I'm just going to kind of talk to you while I'm mixing, because that's the only way I can think of to do this. So I've already taken one full cup of butter, two full, well, I want to show you, two full, like this, two of these. I've got two of these already melted, okay, and I've also got 6 squares of unsweetened chocolate. I melted them together. You can do it in the top of a double boiler, but most people don't have double boilers anymore. Most everybody just has a microwave. So that can be accomplished in a microwave too. The only thing I want to do a heads up is make sure you have a cover on it, like a plate over it or something, because the butter will pop and it'll go all over your microwave. So we have 2 sticks of butter in here and 6 squares of unsweetened chocolate. Now the reason why I did this ahead of time is because once you've gotten these melted like this, you have to let it sit until it's cooled for about 10 minutes, because you don't want it to cook the eggs up when you put it in. But now it's cooled enough. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add 4 eggs. I'm down to only a few more eggs coming from that I had stored up here from the store. And then I'm going to start getting all my eggs up the road at Matt and Morgan Hales, which I'm very excited about. Erica Brooks has been getting all of hers from there right now, and she's just very excited about it and having a great time coming and going and getting fresh local produce. And the other thing that I want to put in here right now is 2 cups of sugar. The reason why I'm not using my baking center and using the other the KitchenAid is because my phone is about to die and I have to have it plugged in, and this is the closest plug-in I have. So I'm sorry that we're not at the other center as well. And then you want to add your vanilla, which is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And I believe it's a quarter, but maybe it's a half. No, it's a half teaspoon of salt. It's funny. It's weird. Of all the things that I ran out of without realizing I'd run out of them, I ran out of, oddly enough, salt and pepper. I've been doing so much cooking and baking, and I don't really use a lot of salt, as you all know, because I'm not big on heavy salt. But I ran out of salt and pepper, and then when I went to buy it, oddly enough, online at Walmart.com is where I do most of my shopping, so I don't have to go to the store for routine things like, you know, cocoa and stuff like that. I ended up not being able to get it there, so I actually had to go to the store for this. So it's 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's not a lot of salt because remember, you have salt in your butter that's in there too. So, all right. Now, back here, back to our mixing bowl. So I just put the salt on top of that. And we are going to stir this together. Yum-o. Oops, push this back out of the way here. Look at that deep, dark chocolate. Just going to kind of stir it up a little bit here. And when I add the flour and stuff, though, I'm definitely going to use the mixer. I'm just trying to get these all coated a little bit. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll just use the mixer now. No reason why I can't. This is such, like, oh, and as if this brownie recipe isn't going to be enough, I've decided to also give you my favorite chocolate frosting recipe to go on top of these, because this is crazy. But hold on for a noise for just a second. That certainly is mixed up enough. You can see how thick that already is. Okay, and now I'm just going to put in, all that's left is to add my flour, which is 1 cup. So I'm going to use the 1 cup again. Now this recipe says that you can use nuts. However, walnuts. Now, I know some people, oh crap, I just dropped it. I know, sorry about that, everybody. I know some people that, let me put you back on the stand here. I know some people who use walnuts, but what I'm going to use today, and I can't believe I just hit that and knocked that off, but that's how it goes live. Nothing I can do about it. I'm going to use what's left. Remember we made the homemade turtles the other night? I'm going to chop up what's left of these pecans. And I think pecans in here is going to be so amazing. So that's what I'm going to end up putting in here. But for just another second, I'm going to quickly beat this up, and then I'm going to chop up my pecans. What takes the longest in this recipe is actually waiting for the butter and the chocolate to cool, because the recipe itself, as you can see, goes really quick. It takes no time at all, but waiting for the chocolate and the butter to cool so that you don't distress or unnecessarily heat your eggs before they go in the oven. That's what takes the longest. Okay, so I'm going to just beat this one more time. There you go. This is a very thick, it's a very thick recipe. You can see how amazingly thick it is here. So I'm going to push this back for a minute, and I'm going to pull out something else for you to see. Get my water out of the way for a minute. Hopefully the cord reaches. It doesn't. So let me move you guys over here a little bit so I can use it in front of me. Remember this little tool we used when we were chopping and dicing ham for ham salad sandwiches? That's what I'm going to use right now to chop the rest of my pecans. So here we go. Throw them in there. What a wonderful use for the rest, because they're just shards and pieces, so you can't use them in any kind of, that needs them to be whole at all. So what a great way to use them today. And I love pecans. I mean, it's fun to put any kind of nut in there. You can put peanuts or walnuts or any. You could even put chocolate chips would be good in these brownies, but my God, how much more chocolate and sugar do you need? Wait a minute, did I just ask that? Me, the chocolate crazy girl? But anyway, some people do put chocolate chips in there. It's a lot. It's a thick thing, so you don't want a big piece if you do that. So I'm just going to chop these up just very randomly. I didn't even want it to run for very long. Actually, they're even smaller pieces than I thought they were going to be. And see how tiny they are. I'm just going to toss that right in our bowl over here. I'll move you back over to here now where you can see what we're doing. I know this isn't really great filming when you're all by yourself like this. So I'm just going to toss them in. Oh gosh, this is great. It's almost hard to stir because it's so thick. And you can see there was only 1 cup of flour, but it's a very thick, dense brownie. I've never been able to eat a big piece of it at a time. And then I'm just going to make it even more rich and crazy to have, because I'm going to show you how to make the absolute world's best chocolate frosting recipe as soon as we're done this. So the next step here is to put in a greased pan. So I'm going to do what we've been using is this Baker's Joy, so I don't have to go around and grease the whole pan. So I'm quickly just going to spray it on here. Oh, my spray isn't working. I wonder why it's not working. That is weird. Huh. Did we get dropped or something? Well, I guess we're not going to. We're going to grab our Crisco and we're going to grease our pan. And there you go. Live TV, goodness knows, anything can happen. So greasing the pan's just literally what it means. Just take your Crisco and just make sure you get every corner, every crack, every crevice. That's kind of weird that happened. I'll have to check that out and see where that happened. I'll have to stick a pin through it and see if maybe it's clogged or something. But until then, we're just going to grease the pan the old-fashioned way that I've done for the last 40 years. Getting a little too self-reliant on that, not self-reliant, but reliant on that spray, to be honest with you. Okay, so here we go. Grab a wipe that I can wipe my hands with. And literally, we are just going to put this in our pan. It's going to be at, I'm baking at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. My pan is a 9-inch pan. And we're just going to fill it up. It's so thick it barely wants to come out of here. Crazy how thick this is. It tells you how dense it is. I mean, this recipe is, yeah, it's going to take you a while to eat the whole pan of these. I hope you have a house full of kids or something like that, because if you eat the whole pan of this, there's going to be a few pounds. It's probably going to end up on you. There. And here we go. And soon it will just be right in the oven. So 45 minutes. And again, remember, before you take anything out, cake, breads of any sort, unless you're making that yeast bread, you don't do this to the yeast bread, but when you're making any quick breads, make sure you keep a toothpick beside your stove so that you can run it through the middle and make sure it comes out clean. As if it comes out clean, it means it's all cooked. The worst thing in the world is to put all these beautiful, expensive ingredients into these brownies that are absolutely amazing, and then to find it only half cooked in the middle because you can't get it back in the oven once you start cutting into it and trying to get it to cook more. So that would be a terrible tragedy. So always remember, with any cake, quick breads, pies like pumpkin pie, quiches, always use that toothpick trick that I taught you a long time ago. So here we go. We are going into the oven for 45 minutes. And there you go. Putting my timer on 45 minutes. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make our frosting. So this frosting is amazing. There's just no way to describe it but amazing. It's just none. So a quick thing that I have to do is I do have to clean off my beaters because I'll need them again. The one thing about this frosting, well, again, it's going to start with the same thing that started with butter. It's going to start out with a stick of butter, which you can see right there that I have already melted for you. And again, I melted it ahead of time so that it would be cool, because you don't want it to be hot, hot, hot. Just like you don't want it to be hot when you're making the other recipe. So I'm just cleaning my, sorry about that, I don't have more than one set of beaters for this thing. So I'm just cleaning my beaters so that we can make this frosting. Now this frosting, I'm going to tell you where I found this recipe, and I make no other now. It comes right off of the Hershey cocoa can. It's right on the back. You can see it right there in the middle. It says Hershey's Perfect Chocolate Frosting. And that is the perfect description for it, because it is perfect. For sure. It's the best. I mean, I've made a lot of frostings, but I'm here to tell you, this is without a doubt the best chocolate I've ever made. And whenever I need chocolate frosting quick, this is my go-to. So what I did is a long time ago, because who knows if they'll ever stop putting the chocolate frosting recipe on the back of their can. So what I've done is, when I bought a can years ago, I just took this label off, cut this part out, and I keep it with my other recipes so that I can have it all the time, because who knows when they'll stop putting it on there. Okay, so here's my melted butter. Just going to move it around a little bit because it's been melted for quite a while and it seems like it's not perfect. There we go. All right, so I'll put the regular sugar out of the way. I won't need that anymore. Now we're talking about confectionery sugar. I'm going to make this now even though the brownies aren't ready, because I just want you to know how to make it. It's so wonderful. So there's my half a stick of butter all done. Now I'm going to stir in cocoa. I need 2/3 cup of cocoa, and there it is. And I always use the Hershey's. I have to say, there's a few things I'm really snobbish about. The peanut butter, you all know how I have to have that Peter Pan roasted, honey roasted, and I love it to be crunchy more than anything. Well, I'm snobbish about my cocoa too. We did see when I made that pie though that I used that cocoa that was from the health food store, and I have to say it made that pie taste completely different. And so I'm curious next time I make that pie when I make it with regular Hershey, because that was a Swiss cocoa, and we did that on purpose just to see what that was like. Because remember, I was doing some shopping at the health food store, because there was some things that you can find at the health food store that you cannot find at the regular grocery store right now. Not that you can't find cocoa, you probably can. I was just there and getting flour when you couldn't get flour from anywhere. So all right, there I am. So there is my and this is gonna end up, you can see it'll end up getting a little bit better than that. You can see there's still some pieces of cocoa, but don't worry, I'm gonna use the beaters. So now I have 3 cups of confectionery sugar. I'm going to put my 1 teaspoon of vanilla in right now, just to get it in there and to help, so I'll know what because remember, if you get to a point where you don't, can you see this bowl? Yep. If you don't feel like it's spreadable, you can either add, when you get done your frosting, if you feel like you can't spread it, if it's too thick, start adding little, like a teaspoon at a time of milk, and beat it up, and it'll make it more spreadable. Likewise, if you get to the end and you feel like it's too runny and not thick enough, then you add a handful of confectionery sugar at a time. And so that's how you always pay attention to the spreadable consistency of your frostings. So don't ever worry if you get done your frosting, you go, oh, it's too thick, this is never gonna, or my God, look how runny it is, it's gonna run down the side of the cake. Just adjust it with either the milk on one end or the powdered sugar on the other. Of course, the only exception to this is you can't make any adjustments when you make maple frosting, because maple frosting, when you make it, you're at the consistency you are only because of when we talked about it, how we cook down the hair. So I'm gonna start with 1 cup of confectionery sugar. I'm going to put that right in there, and part of the milk. I can't exactly remember. I think it's 1/2 cup of milk. I'll look and see what it says. I will be putting the ingredients on there for you. Nope, it's 1/3 cup of milk. So I'm going to just pour some of this milk in here like this, just to keep it wet. And we're going to start to, oops, that's right, I had unplugged this before, so I could take off the, sorry about that. So we're just gonna, probably powdered sugar will fly around everywhere, but that's what you get when you can't use the other machine. See how it's starting to mix up? Once I get that first batch in, I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go another cup of confectionery sugar, and I believe it's 3. Yep, it's 3. Second cup. Some more of my milk. Just kind of keep doing this for a little while. We're going to do it one more time, and then we're going to scrape the sides and mix it for the last time. Such amazing, amazing frosting. See how lighter color it's getting now? Before it was a really dark black. See now it's getting that chocolatey, wonderful dark light. Oh, you can't see. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. What a moron. You've been watching me. I'm sorry. What I did was added... Oh, terrible. I didn't have the camera set yet. What I was doing was adding part, and I'll show you. I'll just do the last part. Here is my last cup of confectionery sugar. I thought I had turned the camera down, everybody. Man, I am lame at this all by myself today. Here's my last cup of confectionery sugar, my third cup, and what's left of my milk, because I have been doing 1 cup and part of the milk, 2nd cup part of the milk, and 3rd cup part of the milk. And this will be my 3rd shot at it. We will let these mix up a little bit, and then I will scrape the sides, and we'll mix it for the last time. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you were just watching me. Now you're going on a mold. Oh. I need my cameraman. Tim, where are you? It just doesn't work when you're not here. You do all these silly, lame boo-boos. Okay, here we go. So all the confectionery sugar and butter and everything is in there. Now see how it's turning into a nice light chocolate color, and from that dark, we started as a very dark black. All right, so we got this side scraped. We're gonna, one last time, we're gonna hit it well. Oh my God, I wish you could see or taste how this is. Wow. And there you go. Look how absolutely beautiful this is. Now, if you feel like, oh my God, I can't spread that. See how thick that is? I can't spread that. It's too thick. I don't want to spread that. I'd like it a thinner. Then just add 1 teaspoon at a time of milk and keep beating it till you get the consistency you would like. I kind of like mine a little bit thicker, but I might do 1 little round of a little milk to thin it up a little bit. Likewise, if it came out and it was really runny, I'll add a little handful of, just grab a little handful of confectionery sugar and throw it in and rebeat it. So this, you said you wanted to know about homemade brownies. There you go. Amazing, quick. The longest part of that brownie recipe is waiting for the butter and the cocoa, the squares to cool, because you do not want to start right out with hot butter, and because butter gets really hot, and cocoa, and it'll cook up your eggs and then they'll perform differently in the oven, so that's not cool. So the longest process of this recipe is just waiting for them to cool. Once they do, you can see that when we were done in if I wasn't talking and jammering on, we'd have been done in like 5 minutes. This frosting, same thing, 5 minutes. You'll never buy another can of chocolate frosting after you've tasted the amazing taste of this. Now there's also other frostings. I have what's called a decorator frosting, and this is something years ago that Shirley Parody, when she was teaching me how to, whenever I work with confectionery sugar, I always think of Shirley Parody, because when I wanted to learn to make cakes and design cakes, she spent endless hours, days, months, whatever with me. I'd walk up to her house from my parents' farm, and I'd knock on the door, and she'd never say no, and she'd sit down with her Wilton cookbooks, and we'd talk. And I learned I have a great a decorator cake frosting that ends up being white, and then you can make it any color you want. So if you want to make a decorator cake, a cute little birthday one or something, let me know. We could always decorate up a cute little birthday cake together live, and I can show you how super easy that is. And that one's just confectionery sugar and shortening, but I use lemon, vanilla extract and lemon extract. So I know you're going to say lemon, that's kind of weird, but it ends up being fantastic. So until we try to do something like that again, try this brownie recipe today. It's fantastic. This frosting, you're never going to buy another can of frosting once you've put this on your palate, because you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't buy frosting that tastes this good. So tonight we're doing something fun. I think it's called skillet lasagna. People have been asking for lasagna. I did not find my recipe, and I have tried. So I went out on Facebook today and asked people if they had any ideas of ones that I could do live. Until then, I'm doing kind of a compromise, and I'm using the Pioneer Woman's recipe called skillet lasagna, and it's really kind of fun. It's not layered at all, so don't get that hope that it's layered in any shape or form. It's kind of like doing a combination of like a goulash or whatever, but we'll see tonight when we're cooking it together. And I'm using bow ties. That's what I'm going to use for the pasta. So until then, have a good day.